My name is William Bryson. I'm the founder and the owner of the crew. You're listening to Crew Podcast. Next up, part one with Nell Owen. And we are back. This is the Crew Podcast, the first ever, the pilot. And speaking of first, we're very excited as today is just a big day for the crew in general. Our first podcast. This is our pilot. And who better to have as I want to say guinea pig, but we won't use that, as our first guest, as I know her as Nell Owen. You guys may know her as Sticks, but either way.
Oh, good Lord.
Yeah, you're Sticks. But either way, she is a member of the crew. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Nell Owen. Nell, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you, Will?
I'm good, thank you. And I want to thank you so much for just taking time out on this Sunday to be a part of the podcast. You're the first one. You're like a virgin.
Yeah, it's exciting. And, I just want you to know that I am interrupting my usual Sunday tradition of watching the Mets versus the Raiders.
Who you
please be grateful.
who you rooting for?
I don't know, the one with the most balls.
Oh, yes.
So, that's really what it's all about, like, as far as I know.
Well,
about,
I heard,
the Mets
well,
versus
I did hear, and I think you told me once that you were a lover of all balls.
Oh, God, I love all balls.
Yeah.
I think my favorite ball is a tennis ball. I think that's my favorite. Oh, it can also be used as a dog's chew toy.
I was going to say, if them are the only sizes you like, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's my favorite.
So, this is part one of a three-part podcast with me and you. And I want to jump right into part one. And I talk about a lot of things that people don't know. I know this, but the people that are listening don't know this. You were not born in the States. You were actually born and raised in Australia, correct?
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Oh, okay. I like that. Well, allegedly, you were born and raised. Now, one of the questions I have, because again, not a lot of people actually, like for example, we live in Missouri. So if you go like to Missouri to like Texas or Vegas or California, they consider that a vacation, So to get out of the country is probably huge for some people. But just so people kind of get a better understanding of Australia compared to the States, what is the difference in cultures, if there's any?
Australians are lovely people. However, we are originally a penal colony. So we would offer you a drink, but also steal your wallet at the same time with a smile on our face. No, but seriously, growing up in Australia, from talking with friends here and, kind of understanding their experience as kids and stuff like that, very similar. The games we play as kids are a little different. Like, we would have backyard cricket, and that probably sounds uber boring, but better than backyard baseball, I guess. I don't know.
Sure.
Don't ask me. What do I know? But yeah, the same thing. Australia's very, it's similar to the United States as far as, the big stuff like, freedom of speech and freedom of religion and all that stuff. So that's important. It's just the little things sometimes, like, trees are different and
Right.
Animals are different and stuff like that, obviously, because everything in Australia will kill you.
So speaking of, the differences, because you've been in the States long enough, so Walmart and Walgreens and Target. Do you guys have any stores like that in Australia?
Yeah, we have Target. We don't have Walmart, which I don't understand. Like, Walmart's like crazy. People have heard of it, but we don't have it.
Okay.
But we have like Kmart. But it's funny because we have different stores that are called the same name as stores here, but are completely different. Like
Right.
Lowe's, for example. Lowe's is actually a clothing store.
Really?
Yes. And Wendy's is just like a frozen yogurt place. So there are differences like that. I mean, when I first came here to visit, I had never seen a store as large as Walmart, like as one individual store. Like, the Super Walmart,
Yes.
I'd never seen anything as big as that ever in my life. And so that was astounding to me. And when I bring friends here who have never been here before, they're also like, oh my God, this place is like fucking huge. And, it's not something that we generally have. But, we have our own stores too. I mean, we have Macy's.
Okay.
So, I mean, there's stuff like that is the same, but some of it's different. I mean, it's like that in any country. And of course, we have Starbucks and McDonald's.
Okay. So I know, of course, growing up in Australia, I know was totally different, and I know, some of the differences that you kind of said with the stores and stuff. One of my questions that I have is I'm taking it you graduated from school in Australia. Did you go straight to college? Was it did you just get a job right away, or how that progression take place?
Well, I mean, we take a lot of things from England as well. I mean, we're pretty tight. But, I took a gap year, and basically what that means is that after I finished my senior year, which is 12th grade, I guess that's what you would call, I don't know, but my senior year, I took a year off before I went to university, and I did some traveling, did some courses and stuff like that, and then I went to university after that year. And that's not an unusual thing. A lot of people do that.
Right.
So, a lot of the time, because working in the UK is very easy for Australians since we're part of the Commonwealth. So you get a lot of back and forth between the British and Australia is kind of going back and forth with working and stuff like that. It's much easier than it is coming here.
Right. One of the things that I find most amazing about you, and we discussed this in length because, like I said, we go back like that. You have this amazing accent.
God.
And I say that because, again, I've never personally been to Australia, but I've been to Canada, where I spent a month in Canada on business, and I remember coming back to the States, and I remember I kept saying a like a, and my mom thought I had Tourette's. Because she was like, "Why do you keep saying a?" And it's just so I know that's just it's just a regional thing. You just get that from where you go, like in Rome, you do as the Romans. Since you moved to the States, have you picked up any kind of like American traits that you probably thought like, wow, where'd I get that from?
Oh, for sure. I'm a lot more, I don't know how to say it, like, customer service in Australia is shitty. And I won't get in trouble for saying that because everybody knows that's true. And customer service here is much, much better. And I find myself much more impatient and a lot more, like my expectations are a lot higher, which then results in extreme disappointment when I'm there. But, my Australian friends think that my accent is completely American. But my American friends don't think the same way.
Right.
So I go there and I have this, outrageous, crazy accent that everyone's like, oh my God, you're an American. And, and then all of a sudden, as an American, you're responsible for foreign policy or, you know what I mean? Like people are like, wow, American, blah, blah, blah. So apparently I'm responsible for all of that. So for my Australians listening, I do apologize for our foreign policy. I have everything to do with it. So just so you know that. But yeah, this accent is weird. I don't know. I mean, if I get really angry, then my accent's completely Australian. and if I get really drunk, my accent's completely Australian.
Oh, okay.
So if you don't get me drunk and angry, because then I don't know what's going to happen. I think the universe will implode.
Well,
my Australian accent.
Yeah, we'll definitely be taping it either way. So, but
don't get me drunk or angry.
yeah. So one thing also that I want to talk about, because again, just making the transition from Australia to the States is huge, especially if you're just doing it by yourself. But you actually you moved to the States because you actually met somebody from America. So my question to you is how did that transition go? Because I know that was not easy. You know, just on a personal level, that wasn't easy to do. But how did your family and friends take that when you said, "Okay, you know what? I'm leaving. I'm going to America. I'm with this guy."
Oh, absolutely horrified. Um, I had my supportive friends who I think behind my back were telling each other that it wouldn't last. And I can't say I blame them really, to be honest, but my family were, just my mother was horrified. My friends were surprised. And one nice, lovely thing that one of, who is no longer my friend, had said to me, well, if it doesn't work out, just get a divorce. And so that was not a good attitude. I didn't like that. But for the most part, people were supportive. But I think, behind the scenes, they were definitely talking about me behind my back. And then moving here, I left everything behind and moved here with 2 suitcases. That it was difficult. I won't lie. The first year was shitty. I hated it. I wanted to go home. Because I wasn't allowed to work immediately, so that was very frustrating. And then I'm still trying to get used to this culture because there are things that are different that I just didn't understand. And so I was trying to struggle with that. But once I got a job and started meeting my own friends and doing that thing, it got a lot better.
Right.
But I won't lie. The first 6 months of living here was just shit. I hated it.
Yeah. So what we're going to do now, we're going to take just a quick break. But when we come back, which will be part 2 with Nell, we're going to talk about your husband because he's a big part of your life and who you are today. And then we're going to talk about how you and I actually met back in 2012. And of course, we're going to talk about the current status of the crew and where we're at now. So, Nell, stick around, and we'll be right back with part 2.
Excellent.
And while we're taking a quick break, Nell will be playing with her balls.
Of course.
We'll be back.